Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1337. This week on Cars Yeah, we're celebrating the 47th annual Forest Grove Concours that takes place on Sunday, July 21st on the campus of Pacific University in Forest Grove, Oregon. For more information, go to forestgroveconcours.org.
If you do something, do it with full of your heart, not doing with half of your heart.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, automotive enthusiasts. I'm revved up and so excited to introduce today's very special guest calling in all the way from Mannheim, Germany, Andreas Werner. Hey, Andreas, are you buckled up and ready for a fun ride?
Yes, I am, Mark. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Andreas Werner is the founder and designer of Herrenfahrt, a premium car care brand and group of products. Born in the Black Forest in southern Germany, Andreas discovered his passion for classic cars and captured that enthusiasm in creating a specialty line of car care. What began as a wax formula quickly grew into a complete line of products that focus on outstanding functionality, understated excellence, and exclusive design. All this was created around the name Herrenfahrt, which here in the U.S. we might giggle a little bit at, but it's a German word used to describe men's drivers. Car owners who managed and cared for their own cars, many of which were race car drivers, amateur athletes, and enthusiasts just like you and me. You can find Herrenfahrt at Esoteric Car Care in Ohio, and that's where I met Andreas at their open house earlier this year. So this is kind of special for me, Andreas, to have a guest all the way from Germany, and it's somebody I've already met, so I find this really cool. I've told our listeners just a little bit about you. Would you take a brief moment before I jump into the questions and share a little bit more about your business and your passion for taking care of automobiles?
Yeah, of course. As you said, I was born in the Black Forest, and you can imagine in such a rural part of the country, you don't have a lot of big city stuff there, so you have a lot of time for yourself. So what do? You drive cars when you're allowed to, you play soccer, and maybe you have like another hobby like music. So my first love was music, played drums, and my father is typical Black Forest guy. Every Saturday there's a special reserved spot today for cleaning cars. So my first experience with the cleaning cars was helping my dad out with his car and, of course, my grandfather's. So, and this was kind of the first touch to the classic car business, because we had like old cars as well. And after my music career, I found myself in a place where I had the opportunity to found a company with some great guys and focus more on the classic car guy in me, and that's where I'm right now.
Well, it's very, very cool. And as I said at the beginning, I'm very fortunate to have met you. I got to experience the products, Herrenfahrt products, which are absolutely spectacular. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about you as we move through your life here. But as we continue on this journey through the Black Forest, which is a beautiful part of Germany, I've had the pleasure of driving through, absolutely spectacular. I would love to ask you for a success quote or a mantra. This is some kind of saying that's been instrumental in forming your life and your success. It's a nice way to get the inspirational tires turning here on Cars Yeah. So, Andreas, the wheel.
Actually, that is a very good question, because I was with my grandparents a lot, and they told me to have like a little book where you put in all the mantras you get from your parents and from your So what I do all my life is I'm having like a little notebook by my side and just writing in stuff. People tell me that some kind of having an influence on me or is some kind of inspiration for me. So, but the most important thing my granny told me was if you do something, do it with full of your heart, not doing with half of your heart. So that's why I'm always doing things I'm very passionate about. And of course, there are a lot of other inspirational quotes I could tell, but maybe this is the thing I live by the most.
You know, your grandparents were awesome. I know they were anyway, but this is a really spectacular idea, something to do for your children or your grandchildren, to give them a memory book, if you will, of inspiration that they can look back upon throughout their lives. What a spectacular idea they had. I'm going to jot that down. If I'm ever fortunate enough to have grandchildren, I'm going to definitely buy them a little book to carry around and write some inspiration in. Yeah, journaling is awesome. And the fact that they focused and your grandmother, grandfather focused on special things in your life, I think is fantastic. And I love your grandmother's idea of doing something with your whole heart and doing it right. And obviously that's what you've done with your car care brand. I want to go back in time, though, first and talk about a story that instigated this passion you have for cars. I mean, having grown up in a beautiful part of the world where driving is spectacular, the roads through the Black Forest are awesome. The cars in Germany are very, very special. I'm a big fan of German cars. Would you tell us a pivotal moment in your life when you knew that you were indeed going to be a car guy?
I think there are 3 parts in my life that were very influential when it comes to me as a car guy. The first one was when I was just a little kid, I think 5 years old or something like that. We had like a classic car rally coming by every year through our little village, and we're talking about a village that has like 1,500 people and 3,000 cows. So this was kind of a spectacular event. So I just remember myself standing there with my mouth wide open and just looking at those beautiful old cars, a lot of Mercedes. And this was the first thing I remember when it starts to tickling a bit. After that, I had like every Matchbox collection car that ever existed, I think. And the second point in my life was when I had the chance to clean a 190 SL from the 50s Mercedes. And the last point where it was like approval that I am truly a car guy was when I rode a 300 SL Gullwing for the first time in my life. Just starting the engine, close the door, and feeling the power and having this piece of history and craftsmanship under your feet. This was kind of the last touching point.
Yeah, well, those are some beautiful automobiles. Have you had the opportunity to visit the Mercedes Museum in Stuttgart?
When I was in school, we had like every year a school trip, and it was either the zoo in Stuttgart, it was the Porsche Museum, or Mercedes-Benz. So I just kept the lanyard you got from the visit. So
from the visit,
yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that museum in Stuttgart the one in Porsche is great, and the new one in Porsche is fantastic too. But the Mercedes Museum is unlike any car museum I've ever been to. It's just absolutely spectacular. The tour that you can take of the cars being made, and then that museum and how it's designed and built is absolutely brilliant. So any of you listeners that get a chance to visit that someday, please do that. Very cool. Well, let's take a look at some of these beautiful roads you've driven down, but talk about a challenge or a failure that you faced along the way. I'm more interested, though, in the learning lesson that this situation gave you and how you took that experience and moved forward in a positive light.
This is kind of a hard question as well, because I had a lot of challenges in my life. If you're interested in having like one from my music business career and one from my car career, or do you want just have the car stuff?
Let's talk about everything, because the great thing about this question, and it's hard for some people, I understand it, but it's more important for those listeners out there who might be going through something similar to realize there is a positive end to this difficulty that you're going through. So you take it anywhere you'd like, Andreas. It's your show.
I think the first challenge when I had my former company, that was a artist management label and publishing company, was the point where we could not manage to go in further because we were 3 people living in different countries. It was very difficult, and to let this go as a first failure of having and starting a business was very hard for me. But the thing I've learned from that was that timing is very important, and to have like an optimistic and visionary point of view and not losing that in hard times was the learning I got from that. The other thing concerning my my company Herrenfahrt is when we had like the first wax sales. So I was the guy producing the wax. You have to imagine we got this all in a manufactured process. I was the guy like in Breaking Bad cooking the stuff, really small batches.
Yeah,
of course, without all the crystal meth. But
of course,
I figured this out myself, and I was totally in charge of that. And I could blame no other than me when something went wrong. So more and more sales kicked in, and I could not keep up with producing. And I worked night through night. And of course, when you're not that concentrated, maybe you do some mistakes, you have to redo it. And I'm very perfectionist about products and brand. This is a big part of me and keeps me going, but it's also a challenge for myself. But I found a really good partner helping me out with the producing process. So what I've learned about this is that going the way you go with the goals you have and the kind of vision you want to achieve and the quality you want to achieve is very important, and you have to stick up with it and not giving up. And at some point of your way, there's a guy, maybe a friend or a business partner helping you out, just lending you a hand, and you will grow with that.
You know, it's an important thing. I worked in the car care business for a long time, 20 plus years. And in the early years, when we started making our own products, I know exactly. I mean, we were bottling it ourselves and mixing it. And when you're trying to do it all yourself, it's a very difficult challenge to know when to be able to step out of that role, find someone else to help you with it. So you can focus on other parts of growing the business and someone else can take over. And that's a hard thing for people to do because you're a perfectionist. But I found that it was all about putting proper procedures and systems in place so that the next person that takes over can do the job that you're doing just the way you want to do it. So there's no possibility for things going wrong or haywire. But that's a difficult step in anybody's business, is when to step aside, let someone else come in, specialize in that, and then move on to the next part. So I'm glad you find a way to do that, but it's very hard to do, isn't it?
It is. You're kind of going through a tunnel, and the longer you're in there, you lose some kind of objective point of view of it. And as you said, yes, sometimes it's better to step back and just refocus.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm glad you were able to do that. Let's have a little bit of fun and talk about your first really special vehicle and maybe share a memory you have about that ride.
As you know, I'm not that old, so my list of cars I owned is very short. I had the first car I owned was a gift from my grandfather. Got it after he retired from driving cars because of his age. So this was kind of a special car to me. It was an old Mazda 121 in broad. I think it was purple. It was awful to look at it, but I loved it. But the special car, or the ones that really conquered my heart, was the one I drive right now. It is a Mercedes CLA 250, the sport version, because it was a goal for me to drive this car after some years of Herrenfahrt, and I managed to buy this car. And when I just drove through the Black Forest for the first time, on beautiful day with sun and blue sky, this was kind of an uplifting moment for me. And this car helped me a lot, having fun with it, taking care of it. And to be honest, this car has seen more wax sealants and other stuff than any other car in the world, I think, because it's our test rabbit. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand. My vehicles were test vehicles often, and I was constantly trying things on them and stripping it off and trying something new. And yeah, I think at one time I had probably 6 different kinds of wax all over my car and then driving it in the rain to see how they all perform. So yeah, then we started going out in the parking lot and borrowing other people's cars to try things on. So I understand completely. Wonderful car. Well, I know you're a young guy, so maybe you haven't had a chance to have any seller's remorse in your life yet. Is there a vehicle you've let go that you wish you still had, or is that one yet to come?
I think the first car I owned from my grandfather is a remorse car, because when my grandfather passed, it was very hard for me. And this car reminded me of all the good times we went through when we went out in the nature and doing some fun stuff with my granddad and granny. So it was very old. It would have been like a memorial stuff for me, but it is hard to think back about that car.
Yeah, exactly. Well, just think of the great memories. That's all you need to do. So absolutely understand. Well, I would love for you to share more about your car care line. Again, it's Herrenfahrt, and I want to spell that for the listeners. HERRENFARHT. Again, I talked about the uniqueness of the word and what that word means, but I would love for you to share a lot more with our listeners about this full line of car care products, the different kinds of products that you offer, because It's a really spectacular line. And as I mentioned, when I was at Esoteric Car Care Company in Ohio with Todd Cooper Ryder and his team there, fantastic team, great group of people at their open house. I had so much fun emceeing that. In fact, I got to interview you, and they are putting that out there, and I've been reposting it on my social media. I would love for you to share a lot more about this car care line, the different products and things that you have with our listeners.
Yeah, of course. All started with car care for classic cars, because the classic car scene in Germany is really big, especially in the region where we're located. We thought about creating a German brand that is based in the premium sector and has the look and feel of like an old vintage brand, but with all the technology aspects of a very modern, cutting-edge technology company. So when I first doodled around with the brand, I focused on giving the people a certain world of the brand and to really dive into their hobby and to be a part of their car enthusiasm, not only when it comes to cleaning, but enjoying the car as it is, like an aesthetic thing that someone built for you. So the first product we developed was the Premium Carnauba Wax. We got some help from a local chemist, so we got a basic formulation, and we just tried out different things until the point that we were ready. And I always had this vision of selling like a wooden box, like for cigars, just for classic car products. And I just did some visuals of it, and it came out pretty much the same as I had in my mind. So I'm very proud of that. So we started with a range of car care products for the exterior, and then just added some leather care and all the towels you need, up to the point where we had our first big detailing job for a big company that sells Mercedes cars. So we had the challenge to polish and seal 48 cars in 1 week.
48 in 1 week?
48 cars in a week. This was a big challenge. I could have told that earlier.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It was for the biggest car show in Germany when it comes to classic cars. And we were 3 people and were totally, it was a bit of overwhelming feeling because you can't see an end. So we had a company that helped us out with polishes, because at that time we just had like a finish polish for using it with hand, but this wouldn't be enough for this kind of cars. So they lent us some polishes, and it was really a tough job. And after that, I decided to create a performance series just for the professional detailers and very advanced consumers. So we focused on developing polishes that have one-step technology. That means you can have like a heavy cut, but polish it out to the finish, and just in one step. And we needed like one year for that. But we came out with 2 products that are very unique for us. One is the X-Cut Heavy, one is the X-Cut Medium. And with those polishes, you can do every job you have to do. And these are the polishes we use every day right now. So we have like the classical product series, a portfolio called Gentleman's Car Care. Looks very, very classical, very classy. And we have the performance series that is more flashy and glossy, and it's more for the fast and performance kind of things. But to summarize, what we do is that we focus on efficiency. For me, is a big thing to not harm the car, the environment, nor the users. So we do not use harsh chemicals. We have like a Premium Carnauba Wax that has a very big volume of Carnauba wax in it, but don't use much of synthetic solvents. You just have natural ones. And this is a big thing for us, because I think it's very important that you use products that are not damaging or harming the environment or your health. Just that went back to the time when I just had a lot of detailing jobs and used a product from another company just to test it out, and used it for quite a while, and went out that the safety data sheets were wrong, and it was very, very dangerous. So this was kind of a turning point for me when I said my company will not do this, and it is very important to have a responsibility.
Yes, absolutely. It's really interesting to me, because I know in a lot of parts of Europe and here in the United States, the environment, of course, is very important. And A lot of car care products have things in them that aren't that great for you. You have to be careful. I see people sometimes using products without gloves on their hands and things, thinking, that's going right through your skin, just like lotion does. You might want to protect yourself. But I love the fact that you focus on that, and also you focus on a very high-end niche market here, which is right up my alley. I love that part of it. I'll remind our listeners you can learn a lot more about all the individual products if you go to the website Herrenfahrt, HERRENFAHRT.com. You'll see the full line of products there, which are absolutely fantastic. If you want to order these here in the United States, you can go to Esoteric and Esoteric Car Care, and they've got a line of products from Herrenfahrt that you can purchase there as well. And of course, you can reach out with questions on the website and learn more about these products. But I encourage you to check them out. If you have a special car in your life, whether it's an old car or a new car, there's something at Herrenfahrt definitely for you. A fantastic line of products. Another thing I love about your products is the presentation. When you look at them, they look very, very special. And if you've got a special car care person in your life, I think these would be a great gift to give to somebody. You were talking about that beautiful little wooden box that your Carnauba wax comes in. That's very, very cool. Nicely done, my friend. Well, Andreas, up next is the last lap. Before we put the pedal to the metal, let's say thank you to today's Cars Yeah sponsors. Everyone who knows me knows I'm really picky when it comes to my cars and keeping them looking new. I'm a huge fan of Covercraft floor mats. I've protected my vehicle with their products for decades. Want to keep your vehicle's interior looking new? It's easy with Covercraft floor mats. They will protect your vehicle's factory carpets from daily abuse, weather, pets, children, weekend adventures, and those everyday spills. It's a fast, easy, and stylish way to keep your vehicle looking new. Covercraft floor mats come in a wide variety of styles, materials, and configurations, all designed for maximum protection. In addition to Premier Plush and Berber custom floor mats, you'll also find cargo liners, canine cargo area liners, dash covers, and sunscreens. Enhance your vehicle's looks while protecting the factory finishes with easy-to-install and easy-to-clean floor mats. Covercraft is the right choice. Learn more today at covercraft.com and tell them Mark at Cars Yeah sent you. That's covercraft.com. Are you looking for a way to get your products or services into the ears of thousands of automotive enthusiasts around the globe? I can help. This is Mark Green here at Cars Yeah, and I'd be honored to be an influencer and ambassador for your brand in a unique and personal way. 5 days a week, thousands of subscribers and listeners enjoy the Cars Yeah podcast and website. Contact me today and I'll show you how at mark@carsyeah.com or connect with me through the Cars Yeah website at carsyeah.com. Hey, Mark Green here from Cars Yeah. Did you know you can now see me on the Cars Yeah TV show? It's a weekly visit to some of my past Cars Yeah podcast guests, and I take you along for the ride. You go behind the garage door and into their lives, their businesses, and you get to see what makes them successful. With tens of millions of viewers, Cars Yeah TV is making its mark. Cars Yeah TV is available on MAV TV and Lucas Oil Racing TV. You'll find MAV TV on Direct TV, Fubo TV, Fios by Verizon, or you can stream it through Lucas Oil Racing Television online. And they said I only had a face for podcasting. Okay, Andreas, we are back, and I have a bit of an introspective question for you today. If you were a vehicle, if you were actually manifested into a vehicle, what would Andreas be and why?
This is such a difficult question, because if I say Porsche, people will say, "Oh, no, don't say that." But when I think about it, I'm definitely a Mercedes. When I look at myself, I think I'm a 560 SL, the Cabriolet from the 80s. It is not that kind of car you have to show off, but it's very nice when you have like lazy Sundays driving around, be very calmed down, but you can drive very fast with it as well. I think it's very reliable. So if you ask me the question, I think I'm a Mercedes-Benz 560 SL. I
like it. I should introduce you to a friend of mine. He's been a guest here on the show, J.G. Francis. He owns a company in Glendale, California called Mercedes Motoring. And what he does is find very, very nice used Mercedes from the 60s, 70s, even into the 80s a little bit. Some of those classic German-built cars, hand-built cars, I should say. They're all made in Germany, of course, but He's got some beautiful cars, which remind me of your answer. And I got to film a series of my Cars Yeah TV show, which will debut for season 2 in the fall here. And we did a show at his facility and got to look at some of these beautiful old classic Mercedes cars. So I'll have to introduce you to him. You'd go crazy.
You should.
Yeah. When you look I'll send you an email with some pictures of his facility. It's in a beautiful old building, very old school, old timber, bricks, and these beautiful, beautiful old Mercedes vehicles in there, which are spectacular. Very, very nicely done. Well, Andreas, we are entering the last lap. I'm going to fire off a series of questions and ask you to give us some quick blips of that Mercedes throttle. So here we go. What's the best automotive advice you've ever received?
That was on a rally event when we drove against each other. It had like 40 degrees Celsius. That is a lot. They told me to cool down the whole engine room when you heat up or put up the heater so the air can flow. This was kind of a huge thing to me because I never thought of that. And when it comes to car care, the best trick I learned, it's like a little party trick. If you want to feel how dirty your car is, just lend a cigarette pack from a guy who's smoking and take off the little thin clear paper.
The cellophane, yeah.
Uh-huh. And then just put this onto your fingers and just move over the paint, and you feel all the little
contaminants,
stuff on the paint, and this really will blow your mind because you will think your car is clean, but it's not. It's not.
It's really interesting. I wrote a 100-page car care book about caring for your car, and that's one of the tricks I put in there about seeing contaminants that you can't see, little things that are stuck on the surface of your car, and there's something about that thin cellophane when you just rub over it that transfers right through into your fingers, and you'll think what you thought was smooth paint will start to feel like a pimply-faced teenager, it'll be all these bumps and ridges and things. You go, what is on my paint? So, it's a really neat little trick to try. So, we don't encourage smoking here, but you can find somebody who smokes and borrow the wrapper from that. You'll see exactly what we're talking about. Now, how about a personal habit of yours that you believe has contributed to your successes? Would you share one?
Not to sound very esoteric, but I think meditating is one thing that helped me out through the years, because I started it 2 or 3 years ago, and it just helped me calm down and refocus. Because when you are founder and CEO of a company in that stage where everything can be euphoria on the one day and terror on the other day,
yes.
You have to be very very calm to not lose your nerves or do the wrong thing. So I think meditation is one thing that is really a good habit.
Now, how about a resource? Is there a resource you'd like to share with our listeners that you found particularly helpful?
As I am very stuck in that startup business, I'm a very big fan of Tim Ferriss. He has like a podcast. I love him, and I love how he approaches people and tries to usurp the sense of their success or the ways of doing that. And it's very inspirational for me, but I think you can give it a try if you're into a startup business or creating your brand or something like that.
Yeah. He's written some great books too. So Tim Ferriss for sure. Now, if I could sit down and arrange for you to have a drink or a meal with anyone in the automotive industry, living or deceased, who would that be?
I think Mr. Newman.
Mr. Newman. Which Newman are you talking about?
The actor /
Paul Newman.
Yeah.
Okay.
/ race driver, because I never saw a guy such good looking race driving at the same time, and just love his style. It is one guy that I had in mind when creating Herrenfahrt, because he's like one of the role models I just had.
Yeah, very, very cool. Well, I figured you weren't talking about Newman from the Seinfeld show. That it was somebody a little more special than that. No disrespect to Newman, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, Paul Newman, incredible actor, but even more interesting race car driver and individual. And of course, his philanthropy that he created before he passed away that continues to this day. I see his face on my salad dressing bottle every evening. So
nice.
Yeah, he's
Lucky
been
guy.
around. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great driver too. I mean, fantastic driver. There's some great documentaries created about him. Now, how about a book? Is there a book that you'd like to share with our listeners that you've enjoyed?
The book is called Start With Why from Simon Sinek. It just is a conclusion of all the things I've learned the last years. So most people focus on the what and how they do things, but some of the brands I know and I work with over the years, either it's in the car business or in the music business, they don't ask themselves for why, and the purpose of what you're doing is very important. So this was kind of a big deal for me.
Yeah, I love Simon Sinek, and especially that aspect of starting with why. In fact, you'll find at the footer on my website, actually, I talk about why I did Cars Yeah, why it's here, what it's all about. I love that whole concept. You can watch a great YouTube video about him, about Start With Why, and he's got a whole series of very interesting lines of things he's talked about. So great book, great choice. A reminder, our listeners, you can find all these great resources on Andreas's show notes page on the Cars Yeah website. Just type Andreas Werner, W-E-R-N-E-R, into that search bar, and all of these great resources will pop up. All right, Andreas, we are up to the checkered flag, and this last question can be a bit of a doozy. Today I'm going to buy you any cool collector car in the world. But there are some rules to this game that might make it a little bit challenging. One is you can't sell it to buy a bunch of other cars with. You have to drive it. No garage queens allowed here. I want you to get out into the Black Forest and enjoy those roads. I don't think that'd be a problem for you. But here's the kicker. It's the only collector car you can have in your garage. So what's it going to be?
Without a doubt, it is a Mercedes-Benz 300SL Gullwing.
Oh, gosh. I kind of thought that might be where we're going.
Maybe you have a picture with me polishing that.
Yes. Yeah, I have. Yeah. It's very good. Das ist gut. That car, obviously, very, very special car. Iconic car for Mercedes. Probably the iconic car for Mercedes. What is it about the Gullwing that you enjoy so much?
I think it started when I just had like a little model car playing with it, but I think it's the most beautiful designed car, and it has such a huge history. And I must be very honest, not to throw around, but I have like 3 or 4 300SL Gullwings a year for detailing jobs. So I'm living the dream right now.
You get to play with them. Yeah.
I've got to play with them a lot. So, but every time I'm standing in front of that car, I fall in love again. And it's just, for me, it's just a perfect car.
Yeah, they're beautiful. I'll tell you, the car I like a lot next to my Gullwing, if I had one, would be the Roadster as well, because I love the look of the Roadster. Yeah, I've had the pleasure. I've never driven a Gullwing. I've got to play with one. I have driven a Roadster, though, and I tell you, those cars, what's amazing to me for a car from the late 50s, early 60s is how modern they feel, how safe they feel. They're just a tank. Just incredible vehicles. So now, do you have a special color you'd like your Gullwing to be?
I think I would go for a silver one, but I'm quite sure about it. Because I'm a detailer, I would not buy a Soul Black car because it's just too much effort keeping it clean and just not having swirl marks all over it. I couldn't drive it. It is perfect polished. I could not drive it. But I think silver one is very nice. Or maybe if I'm more of the show-off guy in my life, at some point I will go for a red one.
Yeah, that'd be nice too. I've got a friend up here in the Northwest who has a red one. With a tan interior that's just beautiful. I think that's probably the first one I ever set in years and years ago. So, fantastic cars. Nice choice, my friend. Well, you've taken us on a great ride today. I've really enjoyed your stories. I want to thank you for sharing your journey. You're welcome. Could you offer us a little parting piece of wisdom or guidance before you drive off into the forest in that Mercedes 300 SL Gullwing?
So you want wisdom from a guy that just turned 30. Okay.
Well, I think you're a pretty smart guy. So I think you could offer us something here.
Okay. I think one main thing I can tell people is not to be overhyped when success kicks in and not float around. And the other thing is not to be too pessimistic when things don't go as you planned.
Yes. Yeah. Even keel for sure. And again, what's the best way for our listeners to learn more about your company, Herrenfahrt, and how they get a hold of your products?
I think the best way is following us on Instagram. It's just Herrenfahrt. And just type it in, and you will find us quickly. Because everything we do and we create and we do all day, we will share on Instagram.
Awesome, great. I'll also remind you, if you're here in the United States, you can find Herrenfahrt products at esotericcarcare.com. Makes it a lot easier than shipping overseas. That's one way you can do it. You can also go to the website, herrenfahrt.com, and you can see and learn all about the different products. I think they're going to get you very excited if you love car care. And of course, follow them at Herrenfahrt. That's HERRENFARHT on Instagram, like I do. Andreas, thanks for being so generous today with your time, your expertise, and for sharing your incredible experiences and success with the Cars Yeah listeners. Until you and I talk again, my friend, I'll see you down the road.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. You take care of your cars, but who takes care of your investments? Tune-ups aren't just for engines. Updating your financial plan is important too. Your GPS may take you from A to B, but it won't help you on the road to financial freedom. For that, you need a good co-pilot and a very trusted advisor. Chris Kimball, CFP, is just the man for the job. He'll guide you down that road without driving you crazy. For over 25 years, Chris has helped people just like you and me with their financial planning and investments. With a master's degree in financial services, he is eminently qualified, and he's a car guy too. Learn more at chrisvkimball.com or call 866-ON-A-PLAN. Securities through Money Concepts Capital Corp., member FINRA SIPC. CK Financial Services is not affiliated with Money Concepts Capital Corp.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.